Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. My name is Andrew Albers. I'm an account executive here at TDI. I'm going to be your host today, and I'm very excited to talk to you about Laserfiche being the single point of truth and trust. So essentially today, we are further talking about Laserfiche records management. We've had a lot of interest in managing records with Laserfiche, so we're doing another webinar to give you all a great idea on how Laserfiche can become your single point of truth and trust in your organization. So let's get going here. Just a couple items before we get started. Everybody is on mute. However, put your questions into the question box, and then towards the end of the presentation, I'll take some time to answer any of your questions. If I don't get to them during the webinar today, I will make sure to follow up with you all on a one-on-one basis. We can also provide any slides and screenshots, the PowerPoint itself, so don't feel like you have to rush to take any notes. The session is also being recorded, and all of our webinar sessions are uploaded to our YouTube channel, where you can watch those at a later time or share them with your other colleagues that may not have been able to attend today. So again, thank you for attending, for those that are here. So today's agenda, like I said, we're basically talking about Laserfiche and records management, and specifically the value of a records management system, how it meets your requirements in an organization for a truth and single point of truth and trust solution. So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion, and then we're going to get into a few demonstrations to show you the features and functions of Laserfiche from a records management perspective. So we're going to autofile some records by retention, which is really neat. We're going to leverage the Laserfiche records management module and the Laserfiche workflow engine. We're going to show you how to manage that retention. We're going to touch on vital records, how those are managed in Laserfiche, talk a little bit about permanent records as well. Disposition, we're going to cover that, accession of records and destruction of records as well. And then we're going to give you a nice little example of a public records request process, but with a little twist. We're going to show you on how to meet that requirement of sharing those public records with Laserfiche Direct Share. So this is going to be of big benefit to some of our government clients that are probably attending today. We're going to show off Direct Share and how that can make your sharing of those public records more efficient, more secure. We're also going to cover some CDI and Laserfiche resources, and then again, we'll pause for some questions at the end. So just a quick introductory slide here. Really why you should care about records management. Obviously, security of information has been extremely important. Obviously, there has been a ton of data breaches in the world these days. So there's a lot of regulatory pressure on organizations to keep records secure in a proper environment internally in an organization. Implementing structured and standardized records management programs can be an important step in meeting the challenges of these regulatory pressures while mitigating the effects they have on everyday business activities. So that's exactly where Laserfiche comes in as that single point of truth and trust. It is the system used internally for managing records. It's a secure, safe system. All records in there are up to date, so everybody is comfortable with the fact that Laserfiche is the single point of truth and trust. So that's a quick introductory slide. Let's talk about a records management system, kind of what it is at a high level. So a records management system allows you to distinguish non-record content from records. It allows us to apply required retention periods to records, so how long we are keeping records in our system, and then what do we do with those records once that retention period is reached, so covering disposition. We can identify the owners of records really easily. We can determine that a chain of custody and a proper audit trail both exist for each record. So in Laserfiche, there is an audit trail that monitors all records management actions taken in the repository. You can run reports on any of those actions, like for example, who imported a record, who assigned records properties, who cut off a record, so on and so forth. A records management system like Laserfiche can also assist in e-discovery issues and applying legal holds to records when needed. So legal holds is putting records on hold, so stopping their life cycle and making that record, putting that record into read-only status. We can also manage the proper and timely disposition of records. We can develop and administer record policy and procedures for electronic or paper records, so we can cover both type of records in our organization. And then the big one, we preserve the records throughout their life cycle. Each record has a life cycle, and a records management system allows us to manage that. So that's what we will be showing today in our Laserfiche demonstration. So a lot of people tend to ask what the basic difference is between a records management and a document management system. Well, they're pretty similar, but there are some differences. Laserfiche obviously is both a fantastic document management system and a very robust records management system. So the system shares a common goal. So document and records management system share that same goal of business continuity. Cannot function without having records in order. So in a document management system, the goal is efficiency. We want to find our records quickly as needed. As compared to the goal of a records management system is more leaning towards compliance to make sure we are meeting those regulatory compliance that we are governed by in our industry. A document management system is comprised more of transient content. So that's content that's not static, it's changing, it's being updated. Whereas the records management system is more concerned with historical content. So storing those records that are historical of nature. Methodology of a document management system is content driven more so. So that means like what type of a document it is, perhaps the file type, like an electronic document, could be a Word doc, PDF, could be a scanned image document, an audio clip. Whereas in a records management system, the methodology is more context driven. So that's the metadata that goes along with that record, specifically to the record type, retention properties, cutoff instructions, and all of the relevant records management metadata. So that kind of gives you an idea on the differences. Pretty similar, but few minor differences there. Laserfiche obviously covers both again. So why should you care about records management, or what are the values of implementing a records management system? Few big ones here on screen. So we obviously reduce lost and misfiled documents. We ensure record keeping practices fulfill legislative and regulatory compliance requirements. So that's a big one. Ensure records are available for an appropriate amount of time before being destroyed or accessioned. So that's the disposition. We do want to keep records as long as we need to, but we don't want to keep them longer than we need to. We ensure records are made read-only as appropriate. We quickly locate records that need our attention. We ensure records are available if requested by judicial orders. And we prevent the inadvertent or unauthorized destruction of records and ensure outdated or unwanted records are destroyed at appropriate intervals. So really just managing that life cycle of that record is crucial. All right, so what is Laserfiche and how does it help? Well, Laserfiche is a records management system that helps organizations or companies manage, control, and maintain regulatory compliance. Laserfiche aims to be the single source of truth for document storage, archiving, and public records. So how does it help? Well, with a single point of truth, Laserfiche consolidates data onto a single platform, ensuring that everyone in your organization accesses the same information, right? So Laserfiche becomes that centralized system that everybody in the organization uses. There's no longer a need to store records or documents outside of Laserfiche. We're storing everything in Laserfiche, updating it with the correct metadata, records properties. In terms of retention and permanent storage, Laserfiche offers tools and methods to set retention policies and provide for the management of permanent storage. This ensures that records are retained appropriately and securely, aligning with legal requirements and organizational needs. Now, in terms of trust and security, in Laserfiche, we have very granular security controls to regulate access to information, and in turn, enhancing security and trust of the information residing in the system. Did want to touch on a little bit on Laserfiche compliance and privacy. Laserfiche takes compliance and privacy very seriously. So in terms of compliance, Laserfiche provides records management tools to support your regulatory and compliance and maintains a set of industry standard compliance certifications and attestations, such as the SOC 2 Type 2 Plus, HIPAA, the Department of Defense 5015.2 records management. That's a big one. That means Laserfiche has been vetted by the Department of Defense as a robust document management system. So Laserfiche carries that certification and many other more that apply to other industries, such as the financial industry with that SEC certification there. In terms of privacy, Laserfiche is committed to privacy by design in its development efforts. Laserfiche maintains that SOC 2 Type 2 Plus attestation and utilizes industry best practices in implementing applicable data privacy regulatory controls. So you can rest assured that information that's in Laserfiche stays private, and you have the satisfaction of knowing that your users also know the fact that the information in Laserfiche is private information. Okay, couple definitions before I get into demo so everybody kind of understands what we are going to be talking about. So an active record, that's a record in Laserfiche that is currently being used or accessed in the course of business. An inactive record is a record that is being stored for a variety of business or legal purposes, even if it's not currently in use. So that's the differentiator there. File date, that's the date the record or record folder was added to the system. So that becomes part of our record metadata in Laserfiche. Cutoff, that's when the time in a record's lifecycle when it should become read-only and is no longer editable. So we cut off records either manually in Laserfiche, or we can have the workflow do that for us automatically. And we do that by assigning cutoff instructions in Laserfiche, and I'll get into that in the demonstration, but essentially that's making that record read-only, can no longer be edited. Retention schedule, that's a set of rules that govern how long and how records should be stored. Disposition, so this is an action taken at the end of a record's retention lifecycle. There are two dispositions, generally. It's either destruction or accession. Accession is the act of transferring the record and its retention responsibility to another local or records entity. For example, you may be transferring it over to the county or the state level for long-term storage. So we have the ability to record that in the Laserfiche, in the retention schedule. Vital records, these contain information without which an organization could not operate and is subject to periodic review and update. So these could be like your internal policies and procedure documents that everybody needs to follow. That's a vital record. We want to review that on either a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. So we can define those review periods in Laserfiche. We'll be showing that in the demo here. And then record holds. So holds prevent records from being modified and stops its records management lifecycle. So this is useful, for example, if there is some kind of an internal case, maybe a legal case has come up and a record needs to be put on hold. So it needs to be put in read-only status. We need to stop its retention period. So we can do that by applying a hold on that record. Now let's talk about what's required to deploy records management in Laserfiche. Just to give you an idea, if you are already a Laserfiche user and you've been thinking about what do I need to add to Laserfiche, To make all of this happen, well, there is the Laserfiche Records Management module. This is an add-on to the legacy applications like Avante and Rio. For the newer platforms like Laserfiche Subscription and Cloud, it is included in the business tier and is available as an add-on for the professional tier. You also do want the Laserfiche Advanced Audit Trail, because this allows you to monitor all of the actions taken within records management, whether it's done by a user or the workflow engine, to be reportable and have then the ability to run reports on any of those actions for later use. So Audit Trail is available as an add-on to the legacy platforms like Avante. It's included on Laserfiche Rio. For subscription and cloud clients, it is included on the business tier, and it's available as an add-on on the professional tier. You also want Laserfiche Workflow to do some of those automations for you with records management. So what this would do is allow you to auto cut off records for you, where you don't have to do that manually in Laserfiche. You have the workflow do it. You can even have the workflow auto apply the retention properties, retention schedule, which is what I'm going to be showing here. And another thing the workflow can do, it can also notify us of dispositions. So for example, when a record has reached its retention, Laserfiche can monitor those dates and send us a list of all records that are ready for disposition. The workflow is available as an add-on to legacy systems. It's included on Avante and Rio systems. For subscription and cloud clients, it is included in the professional and business tiers of that respective licensing. So that's what's required to deploy the records management features and functions in Laserfiche. Feel free to connect with your CDI account manager if you are already a client to get a quote on adding any of these products to your licensing. And let's get into the exciting part. Let's get into the demos here. Let's get out of the PowerPoint here and show you our first demo here. So what I'm doing here is I have a records demo folder, and you'll notice I have an incoming folder and an administration folder. So in the administration folder is where I'm storing all of my records based on how they are imported and processed by the workflow engine. My incoming folder is empty, but there is a workflow running here behind the scenes. So anytime a new document gets imported into this folder, Laserfiche Workflow picks it up, is able to process it for us, move it into the correct folder, apply the correct records retention properties, and file everything appropriately for us automatically. So documents can get into this folder in a variety of reasons. It may be a simple scan by a user. They may just, scan a document into this folder through a physically connected scanner. They may also just do a drag and drop into this folder, which is what I'm going to be showing. A document can arrive in this folder through an integration with another application as well, or through import agents. So Laserfiche import agent can monitor folders outside of Laserfiche, either on a user's workstation or on the network. And anytime any new documents arrive in those folders, the import agent tool can bring those documents into Laserfiche, into an incoming folder such as this, and then the Laserfiche workflow engine can process it and file it for us. So let's do a simple drag and drop here. I got a records test document here. I'm just gonna drop it into our incoming folder here. Now, in order for the system to know what retention properties to apply and how to work with this document type, I do need to assign a document template. In this case, I have a records demo template. I'll also assign today's date. You can do that by simply clicking your spacebar. Assign our department. For this one, I'm going to assign the administrative department. And then the doc type, this is going to be, we're going to pretend this is an emergency management record. And that's all I need here. I can just click import, and we'll let Laserfiche Workflow do the rest here for us. So import completed. I'll go to Laserfiche here, make sure to refresh. Now I'm going to go up into the administration folder under emergency management. You'll notice that this was just modified. So there is a new record here. And there is that record that was imported into Laserfiche. Now under our metadata here, we can go ahead and navigate into records. And this is what happened for us automatically. We didn't have to manually apply the retention properties. So you'll notice that the lifecycle management of this record has started. The filing date is today's date. Now we have the cutoff instructions. So our cutoff instructions are time-based. So at the end of the calendar year, this record's going to be eligible for cutoff. So 1/1/2025, it's going to be eligible for cutoff. So currently this record is not in read-only status, but on this date, the system can either auto cut off this for us automatically, or we can manually come back in here and do a manual cutoff. A cutoff is just making that record read-only and starting that retention period. So that's our cutoff instructions here for this specific record. Our retention schedule for this record in this case is a permanent retention. I did put to retain it for 100 years. So technically in 2021-25, it is eligible for disposition, but we can obviously make this record fully permanent as well. So this is the benefit of the records management module combined with workflow, allowing us to auto apply these retention properties for us. Let's go ahead and do another one. I'm going to do a different retention schedule. So let's do this process here again. I'm going to drop in the same record, but I'm going to go ahead and process it as a different record type here. So I'm going to select a different template, well, the same template, but couple different fields here. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and select the community development. Make sure put today's date here. Community development. I'm going to select communications here because this applies the 5-year retention. And that's good. So go ahead and import. So again, import completed. Just to be safe, we're going to go ahead and refresh here. Under communications now, there is our record here. And you'll notice that for this one, the retention schedule that was applied is 5 years and then destroy. So the cutoff instructions are the same. So this is also a time-based cutoff at the end of the calendar year. It's going to allow us to cut this off, or we can again have the workflow do this for us automatically. But the retention schedule that's been applied is the 5 years and then destroy. So we retain this record for 5 years from our cutoff, as you can see here. So 1/1/2030, this record is going to be eligible for destruction. So another benefit of the Laserfiche workflow engine is that the system can monitor our eligibility for destruction dates and then send us a report of all records in our system when they are eligible for destruction. We can also keep the metadata when we destroy the record, or we can delete the metadata with the record as well. In this case, I am keeping the metadata. I'll show you the behind the scenes of how this is set up in a minute here, but first I did want to cover holds. So as I mentioned earlier, a hold prevents a record from being modified and stops the records management life cycle. So let's say we have an internal review case, maybe there is some kind of a lawsuit or something, we need to put a record on hold. So that means making it read only, so it cannot be edited. So we can select our record and then go here under our more actions, and under hold actions, we can go ahead and add the hold. And when I do this, actually before I do that, let me show you what's going to change. So currently, all of my fields are still editable. I can update fields, add additional fields. However, as I add the hold here, you'll notice that this allows us to put a reason for that hold. And the reason for doing this is because you can have multiple holds on a record. So in this case, I'm just going to call this legal review. And then the due date for this, let's just put this a month out here. Save. So now you'll notice everything is grayed out in our metadata here. So no longer can this record be edited. It's on hold, so it's locked up. And we note that also it says actually hold in the document name, and there is a little circle with a line through it, letting us know that this record is also on hold. So once our legal review has been completed and we want this record to be no longer on hold, we want to continue managing that life cycle of that record, we can go ahead and remove that hold. We go under hold actions. We go to remove hold. We select our hold. Again, there could be multiple holds on one record. So this is our legal review hold here. We'll save it. And there you go. This record is no longer on hold. So that's working with Laserfiche holds in the records management feature. Again, this is very important. If you're going to be using records management and you want to put a record on hold for a variety of different reasons. So you have the ability to do that in the solution. Now let's talk about disposition, specifically a destruction event. So disposition is when a record has reached its life cycle and it's ready for either destruction or a session. Let's do the destruction event. So I'm going to navigate to a different repository here. And I can go ahead and leverage Laserfiche records management searching. Within my Laserfiche client here, I have a records management tab here. So we'll select that here. We can go ahead and reset this here. Make sure we select our records management search we want to run here. So in this case, I want to do a destruction. So I'm looking for disposition. I want to see everything, all records that are eligible for disposition. So we select that. The system does our search for us. We can also have workflow do these searches, again, monitoring those disposition periods when records are ready for disposition. But again, here I'm doing it manually. So we can go ahead and highlight our record here. And we'll notice then in our records properties, this record is ready for destruction. It's been ready since 2021 here. And in order to destroy this record, it's super simple. Just go in here, click destroy. Metadata is retained because we have told the system to retain metadata when we destroy a record. So that's done, selected here. And we go ahead and confirm, and this record has been destroyed. And in our audit trail, we have a full record of this, of when this record was destroyed by who. So that's a destruction event. Next, I wanted to talk about vital records. So for my vital records, I made a folder, another test folder here. If I navigate to the properties of this folder here, we can see where we have it marked as a vital record. I'll actually expand on this in the properties screen here. So here is where we can define which records are vital. So again, vital records are records that are vital to the organization's functioning. So these can be like your policies and procedures that everybody needs to follow, but this is a record that's not stagnant. This is a record that needs to be reviewed, perhaps updated on a specific cycle. So in Laserfiche, we can select the review cycle. It can be monthly, calendar, every year, fiscal year, quarterly. And I'll show you where these instructions are defined in the next little section of the demo. But so we select our cycle here. We can also review records on or vital records on a number of days or months. So we can get more granular here as well. So let's just leave this on monthly here. We can also mark records as permanent records here as well. So if we wanted to have this record not stick to a retention schedule or just, be a permanent record, we can go ahead and select that here as well. I'll hit cancel here. And I'm going to go back into my Laserfiche searching here, the records management searching, and I'm going to run a search for vital records to review. So the system is going to give me a list of all records that are ready to be reviewed. So I'll select my record here. And here I'm notified that this record is ready for review. It's on the monthly review cycle. It's been ready since the first day of this month. So I can go ahead and do this manually here. We can also have workflow monitor these schedules for vital records to be reviewed and send you a list of records that need to be reviewed. But you can obviously also do it manually. Just click review here. We'll say we reviewed it today. You can, again, just hit the space bar. It puts in today's date. And then our next review date, obviously we're on the monthly cycle, is going to be August 1st. So we'll hit reviewed. And there you go. This record has been reviewed and the next review date is here. So once that date is reached here, we'll have that option to review this record here. So we can either do this manually by running that search or have Laserfiche Workflow do that for us and send us a list of all vital records that needs to be reviewed. So that's a little piece on vital records. I hope that was useful. I don't think too many people know about storing and managing vital records in Laserfiche, but again, this is extremely useful. All right, let's look at the management of records in Laserfiche. So these are some of the things I've shown today. I want to show you how easy it is to manage it in Laserfiche. So this is our web-based management console for the records management component. So if you have the records management module installed, you have access to these sections of the management of the repository. So under records properties, these are our review cycles. So you saw those under our vital records. These are the review cycles we have an option to run. We can obviously also add any of our own customized review cycles here as well. We have our events here for cutoffs. So this is when records are made read-only. So it can be either time-based or event-based cutoffs. Maybe something happens, like a claim is closed, or it's an immediate cutoff. So we can define those instructions here. Then we have locations here. This is useful when you're doing records accession for this position. So this is when you're transferring records responsibility to an offsite storage perhaps, or maybe to the county or state level for their state archives. So you can define those locations here in the system. So that's our records properties. Under our cutoff instructions, these are the actual cutoff instructions in full. So in the name of the cutoff instruction is what type of a cutoff instruction? Is it event-based? Is it time-based? What's the period that the cutoffs are done? Is it on a calendar year, fiscal year, monthly? And then additional information if that's needed for your cutoff instructions. That's all done here. I'll just quickly select one, like the immediate cutoff here. This is where you would name the cutoff instruction, and then the interval is set here. If it was a time-based interval, if it's an event-based interval, there are additional metadata points you have to fill out and complete for that cutoff. So super easy. This is something your records administrator can do themselves. Pretty user-friendly. So that's our cutoff instructions. The retention schedule, this is actually where you define how long you are keeping those records and what the disposition is. So let's select just the 3 years and destroy. You can obviously define your own cutoff or your retention instructions and schedules here and name them as far as what you need to name them by based on how you are governed for your records in your industry. And here are the instructions of how long that record is kept, what the final disposition is. So that can be the destruction or the accession. If it's the accession, here's where you would select your location where those records are transferred to. That was that screen we were setting up on the previous screen. And then here you can select if you want to retain the metadata of this record when it's disposed of, whether that's destruction or accession. You have the option to keep the metadata of the record or delete it as well. And again, if you have the audit trail, everything is tracked in the audit trail itself. You can then run reports on any of these actions taken either by the end user or by the workflow. You have a full report, you know exactly what was done to a record and when, so you can prove something if needed in a court case. So that's our retention schedules. And here's where you can define specific holds for records, and then additional settings for our records management properties. So that's all here in our records management administration console. I hope this was helpful too. I don't think too many folks get to see this behind the scenes look, but it is pretty user friendly, I think. You know, you can get trained by CDI on how to set up first couple of your record types, and I feel like a lot of our clients can pick this up on their own and move forward with setting up other record types for themselves. So that's a little bit of overview of behind the scenes on Laserfiche Records Management. The final demo here I wanted to show is a public records request, but I really wanted to focus this on Laserfiche Direct Share. So this is assuming we fill out a public records request form. We're a member of the public, we request a specific record type, and then we submit that request internally, and our internal staff member has the option to use Laserfiche Direct Share to share the requested public record with our recipient. And we're going to use Laserfiche Direct Share to do that. So I have a very simple public records request form. I won't go through this too much. Today's demo is not on Laserfiche forms, but this is a public records request. This could be a public facing form on your website. If you're a government agency, Laserfiche forms, if you have the forms portal, can make your forms public. So a public records request is a very good example of a public form. So I'm going to fill this out. I do need to make sure I put in my name, obviously, my email address, phone number, address. And then how would I like to receive these records? We have a couple of different options. We can email records, pick up FedEx, UPS, but all of these are not as secure as using Laserfiche Direct Share. So that's why I wanted to show Laserfiche Direct Share here. For this case, I'll just put email here. We'll just say we're looking for some building permits. Again, this is not a forms demo today. I'm just showing you we can do this through a form, but we're not going to go into much detail on the form itself. Basically, what happens here after it's submitted, our internal staff gets notified. Our recipient also gets notified that a request is in process. There are email notifications that are sent. Not yet, though. Let me wait for those here. They'll come eventually from Laserfiche Workflow. Let me just make sure. Yeah, there we go. So there is our email notification letting our recipient know we're working on their request. We're going to reply to their request, and then our internal staff member is also notified based on what record type is being requested. So they can go ahead and find that record type that's been requested. Let's just say in this case, we'll just pick this document here since it's open already here, and we're going to go ahead and share this with our public member with Laserfiche Direct Share. So rather than us sending an unsecured email, we're going to use Laserfiche Direct Share, and this allows us to share a link for the public member to be then able to download the record itself. We're not sending the actual file via email. We're letting Laserfiche send it directly to our recipient. I'm just going to send this here to myself. We can even compile our subject, our message. Now, the beauty of Laserfiche Direct Share is we can set an expiration link on our shared link. So perhaps you want to keep this link active for only 2 days. We can go ahead and do that. Select 2 days here. Now we have some security controls, which are pretty neat. We can set a manual password here. Obviously, we would have to then share this password with our recipient. However, we can also enable a one-time passcode. So this is required This requires the end user then to request that one-time password to be emailed to them before they're able to open the link that's been shared with them. Once we all have that completed here, we can hit send, and this is now shared securely as a link with our recipient. So I'll go to my email client here. Let's wait for that link to be shared with us. So there it is. Our recipient gets a nice little link. They can go ahead and access their files directly from that link. Do a simple download and save. If the one-time passcode was turned on, obviously they would need to also request that one-time passcode before they can go ahead and download this. Our sender also gets a confirmation that the record was shared successfully. So you know exactly with who it was sent, when it was sent, and what was shared with them here. Then in Laserfiche, we have the shared tab here. And this gives us a little dashboard for everything that we're currently sharing out of Laserfiche. So we know exactly what the recipient is, what their email address is, if the link is still active, when it was shared, when that link expires, and if the recipient has in fact downloaded the documents or records yet. Here we could also see that here as well. We can also disable this link immediately. If something was shared in error, we can go ahead and disable that link immediately. So that's Laserfiche Direct Share. Also, everything in Laserfiche Direct Share is reported on via the audit trail. So then you can run reports via Laserfiche Audit Trail, have that report showing exactly what was shared, when it was shared, with who it was shared. So everything is reportable. So I hope I showed you some good ideas on how to make Laserfiche a trustworthy system in your organization. I hope this was useful. We did cover a lot on records management. I mean, there's still a lot more to show. But yeah, I think this gave a good example of some of the features and functions today. So that concludes our demo here. I wanted to go through the rest of the resources here. So access to our client portal. If you are a customer, you can get access to our CDI client portal where you can sign up for a Laserfiche training. We do a free Laserfiche training for our clients every other Tuesday. The client portal also allows you to download a lot of Laserfiche white papers, how-to guides, additional useful information, and submit your support tickets, get status on support tickets as well. Our consulting services email is on screen. The link to our YouTube channel library. Please use our YouTube channel. We put a lot of time and effort into making useful Laserfiche videos, so the link is there. Please also sign up for our blog. Keep joining our monthly webinars. We do thank you so much for attending. We will just keep doing them, as we do enjoy putting them on for our clients and any prospective clients looking to leverage Laserfiche as well. Sign up for our newsletter, the free training Tuesday I mentioned. That's if you are a CDI client, you can get that free Laserfiche training every other Tuesday. It's awesome. If you're not a CDI client, feel free to ask me on how to become a client. Easy process. Laserfiche resources, they have a lot of Laserfiche resources on their website that you can sign up for training courses, certifications. They have a lot of getting started guides if you're a new Laserfiche customer, or even if you're a current customer and you want to deploy a new process, there is a lot of guides on how to do that in Laserfiche. Solutions Marketplace, that has their integrations that Laserfiche offers, so that's another good resource if you are looking to integrate Laserfiche with any other system and application. And then also their answers page. This is a fantastic user forum. You can interact with the Laserfiche community, Laserfiche developers, ask questions, get answers, and just get more ideas on how to better use Laserfiche in your organization. And any questions? I should go to my questions pane here. There was a question, if I can read this. This is really tiny here. There's quite a few questions. I am going to need to get with you on a one-on-one basis because I am not able to read these questions clearly. It's too jumbled here. I apologize for that. I'll get with you one-on-one with your questions here. Again, they're not displaying here properly in the interface for me, so I'll get with you one-on-one. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar. We are glad to do these for you all. We thank you for attending, and we'll see you in the next one.